what do? You spend your time and your energy working for money that you try to save and accumulate and plan for future, graduations, educations, retirement, whatever. But by design, this currency loses purchasing power value. Nominally, it's the same. This is what fools people, right? It's that nominal confusion. That's a real term. So if you think about it, what $50 would buy you 10 years ago, 5 years ago, 3 months ago is very different than what it buys you today. Well, we're going to transition into a new social, economic, and financial system, and we already are. This isn't something that's happening in the future. This is what this next iteration of digital currencies and central bank digital currencies into a full surveillance money. We've really been taught that that money is just about barter. And in fact, it very well could be the basis for issuing new money in this future iteration of CBDCs. I've only seen them discussed two different ways so far. One is the same debt-based system, which means we have to hyperinflate the debt away so we can go into a new system, right? And could be a combination of purchase. When somebody buys something, boom, that creates the money for it. I think most people will wake up when it really gets ugly out there, but I'm also seeing people starting to wake up now. And the reason why they don't recognize gold and silver as money is because it's been taught out of us.
Yeah.
I mean, think about it. How many people are still alive today that were born and old enough to recognize it prior to 1913?
Yeah, very few.
Exactly. Exactly. And a rising gold price is an indication of a failing currency. So, and by admission, central banks have suppressed the true price of gold, like you said, and people are saying, oh, well, it's not really doing very much. Have you looked at the physical only market? Yeah. Have you looked at the physical only market that only the wealthy, the really wealthy, can afford? Because that's making brand new highs, and I mean in a very big way. So but we've been taught to trust what Wall Street says. Why? People don't realize that this is money because it's been taught out of us. And what we're really needing to do, and what you and I and others in our community are attempting to do, is help people have a paradigm shift. But what we're asking them to do is to admit that they have believed a lie their entire life. Food, water, energy, security, barterability, wealth preservation, community, and shelter. Because these are all the things that you need to sustain a reasonable standard of living. Now, in the wealth preservation, if you have gold, part of that is to preserve the wealth that you have to hold in fiat money, or you choose to hold in fiat money assets, because they're all going to zero, right? All this fiat money, whether it's the Aussie dollar, or the US dollar, or the Japanese yen, etc., they have been on a relentless trek down to zero in terms of purchasing power. So gold maintains that. Right now, you have gold and silver severely undervalued because, again, a rising gold price is an indication of a failing currency. Yep. But you have all those other assets that are severely overvalued. That's going to flip-flop.
Oh, wow.
And when that flip-flops, then you have your purchasing power. So you are in the right place at the right time with the right asset. And you can convert some of your gold into these income producing assets. Once they back a currency with gold, then it fixes all of this unpayable debt where it is. Can they magically just say, okay, here, we're going to back this with gold? First of all, it's got to be convertible. If I can't take that CBDC and walk out with an ounce of gold or whatever in the gold, then how do you know it's even there? It's just really, you're going to trust the same people that have already lied to you and lied to you and lied to you.
Okay.
So, and second of all, if they did, then certainly they would become the world reserve currency because there would actually be something of value. But all they're really talking about is allowing member states to buy goods and services from the other country with their local currency. But what's more worrying is the design of the universal CBDC and any CBDC, because the goal is to hold all of your wealth in one area. That makes it so much easier to control, right?
Yep.
And also easier to deny. Because right now, even with all of the computer bandwidth, somehow they can't seem to connect your savings account and your brokerage account. Once we go into a CBDC, all of that, your savings, your equity in your house, any fiat money accounts that you have, loans that you have, everything would be under in one place. So yeah, it's convenient for you. You're shopping, and we are taught just in time, right? Got to
Yes.
have it now. In my day, we had to save up and then buy it, but today you want it now. Well, I got all my equity. I got money on my phone, even though it's the equity of my house. How easy is it to spend that? It's the phone, which everybody holds, right? So, the World Economic Forum, you will own nothing
And be happy.
and be happy. I'm not sure you'll be so happy because wealth never disappears. It just transfers location. So somebody is going to own everything, and that means you're renting. And you're not going to get to dictate the price. They are. So why not be where the wealth transfers? And that's what being your own central banker is about. I'm watching what's happening with the US dollar. And I knew, and not just the US dollar, but actually all currencies. And when you see patterns that repeat every single time, and especially with currencies, I mean, there's lots of currencies that have existed in the past that don't exist anymore. But you start to see this pattern that repeats, and you can say to yourself, well, wow, we're doing the same thing. I'm seeing these different pattern shifts. And even though I can't guarantee tomorrow, what I can absolutely tell you is that if you're doing the same thing, and you're most likely to get the same result. And what's going on right now that is signaling where we are in this currency's life cycle and how close we are to a total global collapse of this currency.